Hot one out there today. So Eastern North Carolina weather has greeted us over the weekend and today, so that's good. Now it's challenging. You know, those Florida kids are like, Coach, this is hotter than it is back home. You know, so it's been a shock, to their systems a little bit after a cool start to preseason camp, but it's more of what we expect, for weather this time of the year in this part of the state and this part of the region. So, and coming off the weekend, it's good to get back out to work. We're going to find out a lot about ourselves this week. We're really going to challenge them this week. We need to take a significant step forward from scrimmage 1 to scrimmage 2. The thing looking back at the film from the first scrimmage on Saturday is, they saw virtually every single situation game-like that you could see outside of 2-minute and overtime. I mean, the ball was in every challenging situation, challenging down in distance. We threw everything at, the offense from a defensive standpoint. We have a lot in with a lot of veteran guys. So it was a very, very challenging first scrimmage, which is good because you can grow a lot from that. I'd rather have it that way than for us to, not have that much thrown at us on Saturday and, not have, had all it take to teach off of and grow off of this week. So big week this week, for the preparation of our team as we, this is the week. This is the week of preseason camp. We find out a lot about each other. And, that was my talk out there at the end of practice is I use Julius Wood as an example. Everybody sees the player he is now. Nobody saw all the days and the years of work and preparation where he just had his head down, working consistently day in and day out, no recognition, nobody knew who he was, nobody gave him anything, and then all of a sudden last year he broke through. But, it didn't happen by accident. It happened because of his dedication, consistency, and hard work. And that's what some young players don't get. They want everything given to them because everything in their life has been given to them. But it doesn't work like that. Life doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that around here. You got to put your head down. You got to work. All of them say that I want to do this and I want to do that, okay? But you got to go out there and put in the work in order to achieve anything. So it's a big week for our program.
Coach, was there a position group in the scrimmage as you rewatched the tape that kind of stood out as far as meeting that standard?
Well, I think several. I think, offensively, you would say the running backs, certainly stood out on Saturday. I thought you had some flashes from the offensive line, so that's really good things. I think you had a couple of the skill kids on offense that flashed. I think defensively up front, we looked like a really good bunch. We made a lot of plays. The guys were executing very well, so really pleased with that. I think our 2 veteran safeties look like veteran safeties, and Siobhan Ravel looks like a guy. That's another one that's worked his tail off since he's been here. But very pleased with the performance of several guys. Now, consistency, play in and play out. We had a couple of drives there on Saturday where we just flat didn't show up, on one side of the ball or the other. And you just can't have that. You can make whatever excuse you want to. It was hot. It was humid. First script, whatever. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. You got to show up and play.
Talk about the turnovers on Saturday. When you look back at it, what positives did you get from your quarterbacks, from Mason, from Alex, those guys?
Well, they all had one, so it's not like, one guy had 4. They all had one. Each one's different. Each one, you got to either read the coverage pre-snap or not take a chance, putting a ball where you don't need to put it, or, you got to do a better job with our protection, whatever it is. But each one was a little bit different. I think the positive of that is I thought we did some really good things defensively, forcing some turnovers. We had a couple of great strips. I thought we did a good job disguising our coverage on one of the interceptions. So you got positives on it, but certainly each one of those situations is one that they can all grow from.
Is this week more about East Carolina, and then next week you start the preparations for?
Yeah, we don't need to talk about anybody else other than the Pirates right now, and it's our complete focus. It's like special teams. That was a big emphasis today. Saturday, it's the first time we put that much special teams live work in our first scrimmage of the fall. It's great because you're so much farther along there as far as knowing what we got to work on. And so this week, the special teams is a big, big focus for us to make sure this coming Saturday, I really want to have as close as we can get to our 2 deep guys that we think are going to play in the open on special teams. Those guys are the ones taking those reps against really good looks. And so I really want to test us this week from a special teams standpoint.
You've been mentioning all summer that the new guys need to learn to play East Carolina brand of football. They also need to learn how to do East Carolina brand of watching film after a game and the stuff off the field. How have they progressed with that, especially now that you have had as close to a game as you're going to have
Right.
for opening day?
I think it depends on the kid. And they all come from different places and they all have different backgrounds. I think some have acclimated very, very well. I think some are still trying to find their traction. But I think it's, that's the one thing. And the good thing the older kids in this program understand is, there's a standard, and they're going to hold everybody to it. It's really that's a little bit of a relief. That it's not just my voice, it's not just the other coaches' voices. You have leaders like Rajay, out there, and he's echoing the right things to the group, and so they'll come along. So, but guys that don't. They'll be sitting at home watching us play on TV.
Through almost 2 weeks and one scrimmage, have you been able to avoid major injuries so far? How are you health-wise?
Well, we got one we don't know about just yet. The rest of our bumps and bruises are kind of bumps and bruises. So, we'll have a better idea in the coming days on one player.
When you look at Saturday's scrimmage, it seemed like you had ones against ones, twos against twos. How do you kind of dive into that as far as how each guy stacked up? If the guys did well against threes, does that equate to, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, right now the depth chart is very fluid. A little bit part of my talk this afternoon to the team when we meet at 4 o'clock. They are going to decide what the depth chart is. And I'll tell you, I don't know, ones and twos, I don't even know what that is anymore. We're going to play so many guys, on both sides of the ball on game day. But, what you do on that practice field, what you put on tape, you're earning your snaps. And so it kind of goes back to what I said just a few minutes ago. Nothing's going to be given to anybody. You're going to earn, where you fall in that pecking order. But certainly, if somebody goes out there and makes a couple of big plays against, the freshmen, that's one thing. You turn around and do it against the guys who are going to play on game day, that's another. So you got to put stock in, performance against, the competition. And so I think that's something that's another challenge for us this week. We're going to try to do more situational stuff throughout the week. This week, just put the ball down and let the kids go play instead of scripting it out. And it's where you create situations based on what happened last play. And so I think that tells you a lot about how a guy can handle success or failure from one snap to the next.
There was a couple freshmen watching it back that kind of did some stuff. Leverett, I think, is the
Malik, yeah.
And Bond, the running back.
Right.
Have you seen, are they fitting into the we're going to work really hard kind of guys? Sort of.
Yeah, I think both of them. Obviously Javius was with us in the spring, so he's got a pretty substantial step up on the other freshmen, and he's he's had a very good preseason camp. Now it's you're in the grind right now, and so that'll be the challenge for him this week. But obviously he did some pretty impressive things on Saturday. Malik has been very good since he's been here. He is going to be a very good player for us in time. Not sure he's ready to play this year, but he is going to be a name that our fans know.
Were you able to see what your former guys did this weekend in the NFL?
Yeah.
How much can you use that with your team now and recruits?
Well, I think it always does. It does a lot for the program, but I think the bigger thing is each one of them and their story. I texted with Holton. I really liked his haircut. So, first NFL touchdown, and you saw Keaton's run the other night and his kickoff return, and then Ryan had the big catch, and Isaiah's having a very solid preseason camp with the Niners, and so got to see J-Mac the other night, which J-Mac played a lot, and I think he's set to be a pretty big part of their team this year. So it's exciting. It's exciting for us to watch because you grew so close to those kids, and you're cheering for them and pulling for them and hoping that they can do the best that they can and living out their dreams. So it's exciting, and all of our guys are excited for them.
Anything else for Coach?
All right, thanks a lot.
Told Holton to take it easy on the Cowboys this
So yeah, I said, nice haircut. He said, I gave up the fight.